7 for 15.
3 for 10.
Chill.
What you took 10 shots, too?
I was talking about me. I don't even remember taking 10 shots.
I do.
You made it 3 though. All my pads.
So
Yeah. Tony, you want to just give
finally
an
passed.
opening statement on the overtime then?
You know, again, this is secret sauce to, a lot of our success. It comes with the home crowd. I'm so happy at, our fans, our students. The turnout today was phenomenal. When we get going like that, it really inspires these guys, and I appreciate that. I expected us to be out of rhythm. We had a bye week. I thought we practiced, pretty good for a team that, gets bored and fancy sometimes. But a win's a win. I'm not happy about certain things. We're out of rhythm offensively. They took us out of our actions. We expected the physicality. They did it to us last year. 11 for 22 at the free throw line after making, 19 of 19 on the road. All those things kind of pushed us out of rhythm. But at the end of the day, we found a way, and I'm happy with the dub.
Questions for the student athletes?
Jalen or Jared, either of you guys, to keep them without making a basket in overtime, just what does that say about the defense when the second half they had a higher shooting percentage, but you guys locked down when it mattered the most?
I think we just talked about it in the huddle, like, it's the last 5 minutes, we got to finish the game. We got to come out exactly how we started it. We held them to 17 points in the first half. And we got to do it again. If that don't work, do it again.
Just to piggyback off that, we're a very good defensive team. So, we just, as a team, we just bought in to the assignment, and we made plays defensively just to get stops and rebound. So, yeah, that was pretty much it in the overtime.
Jalen, I noticed today, like, you were more out, top of the tee, but setting more screens, but also you had a lot of initiatives where it's just like, put your head down, drove to the basket. Despite, a few misses, but you still kept trying to get your team involved and got a lot of you guys open for 3 shots and helping them. How you feel and how you, do that?
I just know this game, I watched a lot of film, and I just know they was going to take a lot of our guards out of actions. So I just know as a basketball player, I just got to make plays and, pass to my teammates when they're open, take tough shots when I had to take them. So, coming in the game, that was already my mindset.
After the game finished the way it finished in regulation, to reset yourself after losing a 7-point lead, what was sort of the message between that end of the second half and the beginning of overtime?
It was just finish the game. We survived regulation, and the message was finish the game, finish our food and get out here with a W.
Just kind of what he said. We knew it wasn't anything they did. It was us, honestly, that we should have finished in the first half. So we still had all the confidence in the world. We felt as if we were a better team. That's what happened.
In your defense, you came into the room talking about like you didn't even know that you shot 10 times. But what does that say? But seriously, what does that say about your defense where you guys can understand that you don't have this extra pressure on the offense to be perfect because your defense is so strong?
Even if our defense wasn't so strong, he tells us every day, play freedom, play your game of basketball. We know what's good shots, what's not good shots, so he just gives us the freedom. So having that as a coach, it just makes it so much easier.
I just got one question for both of you guys. KD showed up at second half, like a few defensive stops, and what do you guys take initiative as a player?
He's our closer. He's been in college for 10 years. So I mean, that's what we expect out of him. That's what we brought him here, come here to do.
Jalen and Jared, this question's for both of you. Obviously, we see how good of a team you guys are defensively, but I think from what I can see, there's a sense of togetherness that you guys play with, a sense of pride, a sense of emotion that you guys play with. Honestly, night in, night out, especially on the defensive end. Could you guys talk about just what that means and how much pride do you guys take in your team identity, especially on the defensive end?
I think, like you said, we know that's our identity, and Coach Skin harps on it every day. I think the reason we play so well together is because, honestly, he gets mad at us sometimes, but we're always on joke time. That's probably our biggest issue. But I think that built our chemistry to where we trust one another defensively, trust and communication and all those things, you know.
Yeah, just to piggyback on Jared, you know, don't look at people. We have fun a lot, so that's just our chemistry right there. You know, he hates it from time to time, but you know, we just like to have fun, and you know, winning is fun. Quote by him, so.
It's crazy. I haven't thrown anybody under the bus since I've been a head coach.
That was
Crazy.
Anything else for the student athletes? Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Could you talk a little bit about Justin's 10 minutes and what that gave this team?
Yeah, it's funny you asked about Justin. I've been on Justin's tail the last 3 days. Justin's got a savvy about him. He's a talented young man. You know, he knows basketball. He's a very confident young man. But in certain moments, because he doesn't know, you know, I didn't know when I was 18 years old, certain things just kind of kicks in from a competitive standpoint. He just thinks he can just kind of shortcut it. And you see it in practice. I mean, it's hard to miss it when, you know, these guys, Jared, you know, KD, those guys are getting after it in the shell drill, being really disruptive. And the shortest guy on the floor isn't being as disruptive. If you want to grow, if you want to develop at 6 foot at the point guard position, you've got to disrupt things. And he's learning. I'm happy that his mindset, he didn't take it personal. He took the coaching, and that's a major part of why he was ready. When I called his number, or I should say when my assistants called his number, he was ready, got in the game, and, you know, from a organic talent standpoint, like he can go out there and make plays no one else can make. But when he's guarding and defending, this makes us such a tough team. I say it all the time, you know, we're a good team because we can play 9, 10 guys. And when you have that in January, that's a big, big part of our success. You know, there's no drop off regardless who I sub in the game. Not a lot of teams have that due to, you know, injuries and things of that nature. And so, I mean, I'm happy for Justin. That's part of his growth.
And I know probably from the stands, this looks like an ugly win, but as a coach, just how beautiful is a win like this when you know that you have a formula that can win no matter what the game aesthetically looks like?
Yeah, I mean, it's you guys have been around long enough to understand the value of defense. You know, I'm trying to get these guys to continue to understand. You know, I give you guys the autonomy, but I'm really setting you up for guarding your butt off. And these games do not come easy. It's conference play. It doesn't matter who. You might as well just take the name on the front of the jersey off because you're going to get the best of teams in conference play, especially when you're playing the way we're playing. You're going to get everybody's best. And, you know, the leadership that we have from our seniors, you know, Zach Anderson, Woody Newton, Darius Maddox, Jared Billups, KD Johnson. These guys have bought in collectively, and it's hard. You have 1 year left. Everyone can kind of go in one direction and go around the other. But I try to keep this a safe space for those guys, and I think that's a major part of why we've been good.
Coach, in overtime for them to go 0 for 8, you just mentioned and talked about the defense stepping up in big moments this entire year, but to not give up a single basket in overtime, to close things out that way, the way you guys want to close games out, just how big was that?
It's huge. I mean, that's a major part of their, you know, what they do. They shoot a lot of threes. Those games, and they're going to make some, they're going to lose some. They shoot a lot of threes, but, you know, we wanted to be disruptive. We wanted to be aware of what they were doing. Credit to him. He's down a couple bodies, and they're finding a way to just stay in games and have at least a chance to win. But I thought down the stretch, especially those last 5 minutes, it's easy to come back to the bench and be down in your mind because when you're on the road, you're able to go in overtime, you have a little bit more confidence. And for them to go back to their bench and for us to come back to our bench and to have the confidence to go out there and go fight for another 5 minutes, you know, that's a credit to these guys. It's a credit to, you know, them just understanding what true poise is.
7-1 in the A-10, you guys' best start to a season in over a decade. Is this kind of what you envisioned? I know it's only year 2 for you. This is kind of what you envisioned when you came here to be the head coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. From a personal standpoint, you know, I've always been a guy that played with a chip on his shoulder. Everything in my life has been, you know, something that I take pride in. And so when I got the opportunity to come back here, for me, complacency was never going to be a thing. That's an afterthought. And in season 2, I'm just lucky to have the right group. Winning is so hard. And at the end of the day, we have, a major momentum right now, but it's a long season ahead of us. And, the success feels good, but I'm probably the unhappiest coach in the country right now because we still have 10 games left in conference play.
I remember asking you about like a month or two ago about Jalen because he started to pick up a lot of points, and as I continue to watch you guys, he becomes dominant, gets his double-doubles from night to night. Obviously, only 14 points, and he still had his impact. I just wanted to ask because you said, he brought into your plan, got fit. Like you said, 10 games left. How are you feeling about him and how things have just gone?
Well, let's not discredit his 14-point and 6-rebound game. I mean, it was a low-scoring game. At 14 points out of 58, it's a pretty good number. But I mean, he's a mismatch nightmare. I am glad I have Jalen Haynes. If I was on the other end, I'd be my mind be spinning on how to just limit what he does. He's so skilled. He's going to continue to just kind of figure it out just because he's a really good basketball player. His poise has to improve. As you can see, he's Mr. Chuckle, 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 and sometimes that gets the best of him. But he's a phenomenal player that can play, multiple positions on the floor. He can pass the basketball. We've got to be a little bit more ready. I thought, we drew up a play. It was a perfect, play. I knew exactly what was going to happen. He got the double. He found Zach. Zach's got to shoot that. He was wide open. And, I think his mantra sometimes, man, it's like he was on it at St. Bonaventure, and I'm trying to coach him up. But, that was a great play. But again, Jalen Haynes is a phenomenal player. He's obviously in the best shape of his life, and that's why he's playing well.
And last question, I guess, there were some positives, not a lot of turnovers due to this heavy defensive team.
Yeah.
But obviously, you guys did get a little bit out-rebounded, but in overtime, you did slowly pick that up.
Yeah, we missed a lot of shots.
And a lot of shots.
So did
and
they.
free throws and stuff like that. So I just want your intake on how you felt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about that. I'm not chasing metrics because, we're one of the worst teams in taking care of the basketball. I don't care because we could easily be, I do care. I mean, not say that. We could be first in our league and taking care of basketball and not be so good at other things. And it's like, okay, what's the point? We have to improve in that department. We've been pretty good on the glass, as part of our thing, defense and offensive rebounding. But as long as, we're in some of these dogfights and we're taking care of the basketball, because of the way we defend, we're always going to be in the game. And we're going to have better nights offensively. I mean, you look at the stat sheet, I don't want to say it, but I mean, this might have been Darius Maddox's not so great game in a George Mason uniform, and we still found a way to win the game. And so I'm happy. It wasn't pretty, it was ugly, but we're 7-1, folks. I can go to sleep for 2 hours tonight.
I know it was brought up when the players were in here, but I wanted to talk a bit more about the whole KD Johnson experience at the end. I think he had 1 point in regulation, and obviously came up huge after that in overtime. But how do you, as a coach, kind of go about putting your trust into a guy like him in that type of situation, just take over the game?
Yeah, I think I've said it before. We're going to go as far as KD Johnson helps us to go. We got a bunch of engines. KD Johnson is one, and I think for a guy like him who's came from a high-level program such as Auburn, he won. He was a major part of it. Didn't exactly play on the ball, played off the ball, and trying to get him to just kind of buy into what's going to help him, but then also help us. He's now playing the point guard position, but again, it goes back to guys like Jared Billups doing what they do. Jared Billups is probably leading us in minutes, maybe second in minutes. He does not start, but he finishes the game. And I think that's really poured into some of these other guys, KD Johnson included, fighting through some of the frustration of not being a starter and things of that nature. But knowing I'm finishing the game, I mean, KD Johnson played almost 30 minutes tonight. He's finding a way, knock on wood, consecutively now. He's been really good for us. He was good at Dayton. He was good at St. Bonaventure. He was good at GW. He showed a lot more poise. I think we're 4 or 5 games now, and I could be wrong. You guys know better than I do. He hasn't gotten a technical foul, and so we're having a better 2024, and I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him, and, I'll be going to yoga with him tomorrow again.
Coach, you have have mentioned that we are, in January, 10 games left, 4 home games left, especially. First, how did you see the crowd tonight, especially with it being, I think, the first game back fully for students? And how did your team feed off that energy tonight?
Like I said, man, like when EBA is the way it was today, I get excited as a coach, and I'm getting old. I'll be 42 next week. I get pumped up because I feel the spirit in the gym, and I know these guys definitely do. It's a major part of success. At the end of the day, it's your home court. That's what Patriot pressure is, and we're getting consistent. I want us to continue to be consistent because that's a major piece of our culture. These guys feel it. They talk about it all the time. You see these guys on campus, passing different things out, trying to get people to come out. And I think if that atmosphere continues to be the way it's been, this is going to be a tough place for anybody to come in here and get a W, and we'll just be that much better as a team.
And finally, the last question I had was, you now, I believe, have had 2 or 3 games now in overtime. As you progress through the season and as you get closer to postseason play, how do these games especially prepare your team for a potential postseason run, and how does it help overall during the season?
Yeah, I think it's a learning curve. Basketball season is made of different, compartments. You're gonna have turbulence here and there. We had ours early. Basketball gods do exist. He's been on our side and in our favor the last couple games. And we'll probably be at some point in time on the other end of it. But the one thing that we're learning through some of these games is just finding a way. It's never going to be pretty. You look at a game like this tonight where, we couldn't hit the side of a barn from 3 because we had some looks. Good teams come in here and they beat you by 20. We're resting our soul on defending the basketball. That's it. And we'll be in games. They won't be pretty. But as long as these guys understand how to be disruptive and playing with freedom and autonomy on the other end, we'll have a chance, and that's all you can ask for in February and March.
Marcus, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Appreciate you guys.